In this video, we'll look at Paper 1, Question 2, Language Features, how to analyze texts and write your response. The thing to remember, first of all, is that it's 8 marks, it's 10 minutes, and you need to know as many language features as you can. So please do revise. We can't tell you which ones are going to come up, so make sure you revise them, you're confident to find them quickly, and say a lot about a little when you do find them. It's not about the language, it's about what the writer means by using the language. Some students continue to be distracted by using the terms rather than focus on the specific effect of using the term by the writer. Why has the writer used that word when they could have used a different one? Make sure that you focus on individual words and phrases. It's an effective approach if you zoom in on it, as it encourages you to explain the effects in much more detail. You should contextualize the words and phrases you select in relation to the story to make sure that you avoid misreading the story and misreading the text. So see how that word and phrase fits into that character in that situation, in that story at that time. A few hints and tips for you. Make sure that you look at the question. It does say you could use these bullet points. There's no requirement for you to use all of them. Make sure you understand that your comments are on the effect of language, and they should be precise to achieve a level 3 of clear and relevant. Don't choose loads of text or copy loads over. Select individual words or phrases and analyze them. Question them. What are they doing in the story? Okay. Zoom in on specific words and analyze those, as we said. Make sure that you understand that your comments should be focused on language. Don't veer away from the language feature in that story at that time for possibly that moment or that character. Don't bring in other information. It's not going to be rewarded. There is a 4-stage process for answering this question. Firstly, read the end of the question. It's always the same question. How does the writer use language to describe what? Language about what? What are you thinking about? Which will be the end of the question. Okay, highlight all the answers in the passage once you've broken down the question. Look at those highlighted words and link them to language features. In the quote, you've got your language feature. If you can find out what language feature it is, you've got your point and evidence, and you're ready to start writing up in point, evidence, and explain. So your point as a sentence starter, you can use the writer uses. The writer uses a metaphor or simile. Get in your quotes, but make sure they're short. Don't spend time copying loads over, but spend most of your time always explaining why. Why has the writer used that word or phrase? And how does it analyze the character of the writer in the story? And how does it fit in, or what does it say about the story overall? So first of all, break down the question, as I said before. How does the writer use language here to describe? So Rosabelle's bus journey home. So if it's about the bus journey, it must be relevant. We can select those quotes and then start writing about them in point, evidence, explain. So the first thing you should do is think about an overall statement. So whether you use the writer uses or the writer uses language, why? Why has the writer done so? To create a feeling, possibly, or to advance a character maybe, or tell us how they are feeling, or how they're acting in a certain situation. Put in the quotes and then explain them thoroughly. Look at the effect of that language feature on you as the reader, and think about zooming in and analyzing what that word is doing into that character in that story at that time. Reinforce the quote by maybe using other quotes to link your points. Okay, and the overall effect is one of looking at the overall story, the big idea, the big picture of what is going on in that passage at that time. Another way of looking at it, rather than PEE or P, is PEASL. Point, evidence, explanation, zoom in on word or phrase, and then link back to the text, or link to the context, which is the overall. So if we look at the point, again, it's your overall statement. One clear, relevant statement that answers the question that you will then go on to explore in more depth. You back that up with a quote to show that you're not guessing, and then look at your quote and what language feature is in the quote. Why has the writer used that phrase? And then zoom in specifically on it. What is it doing? Unpick it. Pull the thread of why as far as you can until you've run out of whys, until you've run out of things to say. Never move on in your answer until you've run out of things to say about it. You may link back both to the start of the text or to this bigger picture, the big idea, the moral of the story overall, to help contextualize what you were trying to say in the first place. So if we look at a mark scheme example of a level 3 clear and relevant explanation, this one is about the November 19 text, the silence of the mountain with near the beginning with Zoe and Jake on the mountain in the Pyrenees. The writer describes Zoe's joy and satisfaction at the moment she realizes that everywhere was snow and silence. Using everywhere shows that Zoe feels she is surrounded by nothing except pure whiteness and complete quiet, with the repetition and alliteration emphasizing how breathtaking she finds it. The metaphor, the complete arrest of life, suggests that Zoe feels she and the world around her have stopped dead, that there is nothing but the snow and the stillness. We have repetition, alliteration, metaphor. We have everywhere, snow and silence, the complete arrest of life. So we have 3 language features, 3 quotes, and we have in purple there the student's interpretation of what the quote is doing in the story, why the writer has said it. So being completely surrounded by pure whiteness and pure, complete quiet and silence allows Zoe to feel completely paused in that moment, that life has stopped, that she can just be at one with the mountain and nature in that moment of her life. So when you are doing your clear and relevant and you're doing your paragraphs, make sure that you plan first, you find your language features, you have 10 minutes to answer it, and when you do, you zoom in at specific words and phrases and explain their meaning in the story overall.